Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of It Stinks right here on the Boom Broadcasting. It's your boy, your TV movie critic, Shawn from the Boom Broadcasting, getting you ready for another week. And we've been on a 3-week hiatus with It Stinks because a lot been going on. You had the Royal Rumble live stream going on. Then I had to jump over there on the football address with my good friend Aaron, talk about the Super Bowl. My Eagles won. Lot been going on, been trying to keep it with the trade deadline in the NBA. So I've been watching Three for Deep out of pocket to see what's going on with NBA trades. But I am glad to be back in the driver's seat. And boy, do we have a great show for you today. It's the Super Bowl. And with It Stinks, we don't talk about the football game. We talk about another reason why people watch the Super Bowl, just to see the halftime show. Kendrick Lamar, it's time to talk about it right here on It Stinks.
Quiet on the set. Can we please have quiet on the set?
It stinks.
Welcome back, my friends. I'm so glad that we are here to talk about the halftime show. If you've been reading the tabloids, you've been reading all the stuff on the internet buzz, people are starting to say that Kendrick Lamar's halftime show is arguably the best halftime show since 1993, when Super Bowl halftime shows have been going on for quite a while. But 1993 is very special because that was the year, the first time ever, we had a performer perform. And if you remember that 1993 Super Bowl, it was Michael Jackson. We'll be talking about that a little later on in the show. But people are saying this is the greatest halftime show to ever happen. I'm a fan of Kendrick Lamar. I like Kendrick Lamar's music. I think his music is very brilliant. Has great messages in the tunes, in the music, in the lyrics. I like to listen to Kendrick Lamar. And I gotta say, hats off to Mr. Lamar, Kendrick, because he's the first rapper ever to headline a Super Bowl show and do the entire show. Now, yes, he did have Sasha come out and do the song All the Stars and Luther, two of his biggest hits that he's written. But that's different because that's a cameo for what she did in those songs. But no other rapper in the era of the Super Bowl since 1993, when this started, has been able to do what Kendrick Lamar did, an entire 12 to 15 minute show of performing nothing but his hits. Now, we had singers do it, the Rihannas, the Ushers, the Beyonce, all that. Even when Beyonce did her show and collabed with Destiny Child, brought them back for a few songs. We had that, but we have never had a rapper come on the Super Bowl halftime show and perform all 12, 15 minutes of every song that's his. Except the two with Sasha that she's featured in. So hats off to Mr. Lamar for that. Kendrick did outstanding. As I said, this was a great show. Really enjoyed it. Having the Grand National out there, the dancers out there, the songs he done. And also, we never had a rapper do this ever. Perform their biggest track, a diss track to Drake. And we never had any rapper perform a diss track at a Super Bowl halftime show or even at NBA All-Star Weekend. It's never happened. And if you go back to the classic beats, you know, I grew up in the Tupac, Biggie Smalls rap beat. I grew up in the Jay-Z, Nas area rap beat. Jay-Z did this Nas at Summer Jam. Nas responded back with a freestyle on Hot 97. If you go back to all that, that's where they did it at concerts. A diss track was never performed a big main event. And you gotta think, when Jay-Z and Nas was beefing, even Tupac and Biggie were beefing. Other rappers, yeah, West Side Connection versus Common. All of them were on shows, but they never did any of their diss tracks. He did all the other songs, no diss track. And Ice Cube dissed the NWA. He was on plenty of TV shows back then to do concerts, but he never did his diss track. He always saved it for concerts, stuff like that. So Kendrick Lamar kind of broke out the bubble and did the big song. And you gotta remember, they not like us. They not like us. Gave him 5 Grammys this year. He's just come off a clean sweep at the Grammys 2 weeks ago. Performs on the biggest stage in front of the biggest crowd. Does his biggest song ever to diss Drake. It's been out for a year, but to do it there, it made it not even more momentum where now people are going back, listen to it again. And you got some people who won't keeping up with the Kendrick Lamar Drake beat that said, man, like this was murder for Drake. Like put a nail in him, he's done. Questions, can Drake come back? That's for another show right here on It Stinks when we talk about more entertainment news. But Kendrick Lamar just took it to another plateau with this performance. So now, after saying all of that, it's time to see where Kendrick Lamar stands at with his performances, some of the greatest Super Bowl halftime performances since the 1993 era, when we started allowing performers and musicians to perform at Super Bowl and not using local bands, local marching bands from the universities, using hockey, ice skaters, stuff like that to recognize. Because you got to remember, before 93, the halftime show was recognized. You had Dream Team players, people that won gold medals in the Olympics. You had politicians they wanted to recognize, Nobel Peace Prize winners, and all that stuff was good. But said that let's do something different. And this is where the NBA, I believe, beat the NFL, because the NBA had already started having these concerts on All-Star Weekend during the halftime show. They had already had them on that Saturday night or either on that Sunday. So the NFL said, hey, we got to get in the game. And they opened up in 93. And we're going to go down a little bit with a headline. So let's see where Kendrick Lamar stands at with his show that people are saying now arguably one of the greatest shows of all time in the Super Bowl era for performers versus some of the older shows from 93 and beyond. This is Shawn. You're watching It Stinks. We're going to jump into a commercial break, and we will be right back to start counting down some of the greatest Super Bowl halftime performance shows. Stay tuned.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire, and how to control the flames. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back to It Stinks right here on the Boom Broadcast. As I tell you, your boy Shawn sitting in the driver's seat, getting you ready, taking you through this Super Bowl halftime, greatest of all time performance list, compared to my notes from 93 to now of some of the greatest performers to perform at the Super Bowl halftime show. But before we jump in that top 10, we got to go visit some honorable mentions. The first one. Arguably, this one could be in the top 10. But due to the controversy that happened there, and some of the members that performed this halftime show, we had to give it an honorable mention look. There's no other than the 2004 halftime performance show done by Janet Jackson. Everybody remembers that show from 2004. Drop your comments in the box right now if you remember that show. Justin Timberlake. They had P. Diddy. We won't go no farther with that. Nelly, Kid Rock, and Jessica Simpson. That night, the Carolina Panthers were playing the New England Patriots in Reliance Stadium in Houston, Texas. As you all know, probably arguably one of the best games the Carolina Panthers played in the Super Bowl. They came up short to the New England Patriots. So here's the thing we have to ask ourselves with this honorable mention. Was the show bigger than the game? That night, you would have said the game was bigger than the show. But if it wasn't for the classic 2004 Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction, nobody would remember this, and it probably even wouldn't make my honorable mention list. Everybody remembers that, no matter if you was a kid, adult, any age, you remember that 2004, you remember that wardrobe malfunction, you remember going back to school talking with everybody about it. The biggest question was it staged? Did Justin Timberlake rip off Janet Jackson's wardrobe to make that malfunction happen? I remember in 2004 back in college, that's all we talked about for at least 3 to 4 weeks. It had to be staged. Janet had to know. Janet was on TV tonight. I knew nothing about it. Justin just did it. They were dating at that time. Everybody remembers it, so that's my honorable mention. And I would have to say that halftime show outweighed the game more. Even though that was a damn good football game, everybody always talked about the halftime show more than the Panthers losing to the Patriots by a field goal in the last seconds. Now, another one that makes honorable mention. And for a lot of people, this one is actually on their top 10 list. Just didn't crack mine. This could be one that could be in the top 5. But I just felt with so many other groups, it was hard to put this one in my top 5. And that was the Justin Timberlake 2018 show. We just talked about Justin Timberlake back in 2004. He was banned from performing at the Super Bowl because of this, because it all fall down on his watch of what he done to make that happen. So in 2018, the NFL decided to bring Justin Timberlake back, who I'm a big fan of. I like Justin Timberlake's music. To bring him back, I always called that the Justin Timberlake Super Bowl redemption show. He did all the great songs, Rock Your Body, the NSYNC songs. He did the songs from Troller, Can't Stop the Feeling. He went in the crowd, sung with the kids, Can't Stop the Feeling. He did Super Bowl selfies. He did everything he needed to do to clean the image with the National Football League that evening to make them forget about 2004, what he did when he was younger. As we know, that was a great show that night. I think Justin Timberlake, this could have been in the top 10, top 5 easily, because that is arguably one of the greatest shows. You got to remember, Prince had just died in 2018, and he honored Prince by having a mural play and do one of Prince's songs with him singing along to it while he was playing the piano. Very big in Minnesota, Minneapolis. Very good show. Justin Timberlake did a solo show by himself, no help. I mean, the only song he did that was his was Prince. Now the question was the show bigger than the game? Well, if you're an Eagles fan like me, this is our first Super Bowl, so I'm a homer. I'm biased on this. This game was bigger than the show. Philly won 41-33 in U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. They paid tribute to Prince during the halftime show. Hey, Prince had died that year. It was arguably very beautiful, very orchestrated by Justin Timberlake. Love him going in the crowd, singing Can't Stop the Feeling, the troll songs with all the kids, doing Super Bowl selfies. But nobody will remember that, because when you think about this game, you always think about that one play. Doug Peterson, Nick Foles, Philly special. The game was bigger than the halftime show on this one. Now, my next honorable mention, and this is one I hate to put as honorable mention, and this will be my number 12. So we had to start a list from 12 instead of 10. This will be my number 12. 2023 at the State Farms Arena, my girl Rihanna rocked the house, and she was pregnant when she rocked the house. Rihanna did all her hits. She did Rude Boy. She did Disturbula. She did You Can Stand Under My Umbrella. She did everything. Shine Bright Like a Diamond. Every hit song she did. And a lot of people forgot, as a DJ, I used to be a DJ back in the days. Rihanna was always my go-to track. When I need to get the crowd up and dance and get them moving, throw on a Rihanna jam. They got everybody up into the club dancing and moving. So Rihanna's always been my go-to girl for all of my party music in my files. She rocked the house. And she did it while she was pregnant. And nobody knew she was pregnant because Rihanna had kind of fallen off the face of the earth. We want, no new music, not like her, not drop new music. We hadn't heard nothing. Now, that night during that Super Bowl, you had the Kansas City Chiefs versus San Francisco 49ers. And that was Kansas City and Philly. Excuse me, Kansas City and Philly. Kansas City has been to too many Super Bowls. Kansas City won 38-35. Very good game. Jalen Hurts' first Super Bowl. Lot you can remember about that game. Good game. Kind of started the Patrick Mahomes dynasty, but not a lot you can remember. So you got to ask yourself, was the game better than the show, or was the show better than the game? If you ask me, I'm a Philly fan. I got to give this one a tie. I'm a Rihanna guy. I like Rihanna's music. Good party dance music. I'm telling you, that was the go-to track when I was DJ Mike Larry back in the days. I would throw on a Rihanna track, Rude Boy, Disturbula, Shine Bright Like a Diamond, all that stuff, her Drake song, throw all that on. What's my name? Her and Drake, all that stuff. It would get people on the floor. This is a tie because you had a damn good game and you had a damn good halftime show. This is a tie. Now my number 11, and then we're going to start the 10. My number 11, This could arguably, with anybody that's old school like me, be in the top 10, be in the top three. But I couldn't put in the top three yet because it's just so many other good acts before it. And it's so fresh. Maybe in about 5 to 6 years when the list now starting in 93, we started 96, 99, and retire those ones from 93 to 99. This could move in the top three, but this arguably would be a strong number 11. It happened back in 2022. And we went to the West Coast. Super Bowl had never been to the West Coast for music. And that halftime show, they had my boy, Dr. Dre. Hey, I remember, if you had Dr. Dre, the Chronic first album on a cassette tape, or even on a CD, bumping in your Walkman on the way to school while you're riding the bus, listening to nothing ain't nothing but a G thing. Next episode, Let Me Ride. I was bumping in the system with the 20s on it. I had the camera with the 20 with the gold BBSs with the system bumping Let Me Ride, screen down, roll it down, Let Me Ride, bumping that. You remember this. If you had the Chronic 2021 with the next episode with Dre and Snoop again, you forgot about Dre. All those songs, Dr. Dre just created an orchestra that night. It was a masterpiece of music. You had 50 Cent in the club, 50 Cent, all the songs he made. He didn't even do Wankster, one of his big songs. 50 Cent did all the big hits. You had Snoop Dogg come out to do some of his hits. You had Mary J. Blige, the queen of R&B. Had Kendrick Lamar who did Humble. SoFi Stadium, Rams, playing at home in a Super Bowl versus the Bengals, 23-20. Once again, just like the Rihanna one. This one, you can't say the game was better than the show. You can't say the show was better than the game. Hey, Eminem, he performed, what's my song? You Gotta Lose Yourself. He did it from 1 Mile, 8 Mile. Well, he did it for the 8 Mile soundtrack. That was my song back in the days. Great show, great game. Neither one of them outweigh each other. Arguably one of the greatest hip-hop shows right there in the hip-hop industry. And a lot of people said after that show, if you need to get, if this was the Avengers, this was the Avengers of hip-hop. 50 Cent, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Mary J. Blige, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar. It was the Super Bowl Avengers right here. 50-50 on this one. Damn good game and a great show by Dr. Dre. Hey, gotta give a shout out to Dr. Dre, because at the end when the show was ending, to play Tupac, I Ain't Mad at You on the piano was like the icing on the cake for all people who grew up in that 80s, 90s hardcore West Coast rap music. That was it right there. So shout out to Dr. Dre for doing that. Now, let's jump into the top 10. At number 10, 2014. Comes a kid nobody knew nothing about, blowing up on the scene. Started off as a singer that attracted more younger kids, but realized in 2014, if I want to make that money, I got to cross over and be able to get some adults this too. So he went from making the Lazy Day song to making Treasure to making other songs, Uptown Funk. Then he made some songs, more songs, and I'm talking about no other than Bruno Mars, whose bass player happened to be from North Carolina, right down the street from where I live at. He plays bass with him. I know his bass player. We went to school together. Bruno Mars, special guest that evening, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. This show will go down as arguably a good show back in 2014. You had so much in this show with Bruno, and Bruno did good. His vocal talent was good. Surprisingly, Red Hot Chili Peppers was there. This was at MetLife in New York Stadium. New England versus Seattle, 28-24. Now, here's the question. Was the show better than the game? Well, you had pop, you had funk, you had rock, you had great vocals, great instrumentals. You had the background do a great dance routine for Bruno Mars. But it was not better than the game. As good as Bruno did, it's not better than the game, because everybody remember this game as on the 1 yard line and you got beast mode Marshawn Lynch and you didn't run the ball. You put it in Russell Wilson's hands. If you would have handed it off, would Tom have an extra ring, or would Russell Wilson now be a 2-time Super Bowl champ and probably a 2-time Super Bowl MVP if it did not go to beast mode or to somebody at the Legion of Boom? Pete Carroll wanted Russell Wilson to be the hero, and like we always say, the hero and the sandwich, they got one thing in common: they're both history. And just like this, Bruno Mars at number 10, your history. The game outweighed your concert, but you did a damn good job. Now, our next one, number 9. Shakira and Jennifer Lopez back in 2020. J-Lo, can never go wrong with J-Lo. Had Ja Rule, everybody, the Fat Joe, she had everybody on this one. And this was different. It celebrated cultural, rich performance. It celebrated vibrant living. It celebrated paid homage to Hispanic culture for their style music, for what J-Lo has done for the Hispanic culture with her music. It was very good. It was done at Hard Rock Cafe, San Francisco versus Kansas City, 31-20 KC. The beginning of the Patrick Mahomes proclaimed dynasty. Was the game good or was the show good? As we said, J-Lo had Ja Rule, Fat Joe, so many people come out on the show. They did very good with tapping into some old J-Lo music. But the game just outweighed the show. As good as J-Lo was, the game outweighed the show. This was a good game. So this is why J-Lo comes at number 9. Now we go to number 8. Now here's a guy during this halftime show just cranked it up the weekend. I mean, he had a hit-filled stage. He had so many performers. He did everything you want on this show. He sucked all the hits we like. He was really just breaking out of becoming the weekend. And the Rams and the Bengals played right there at Raymond J. Stadium. No, this was Buccaneers and I can't call Chiefs. Both these Kansas City Chiefs at Raymond J. Stadium back in 2021. Did the game outweigh the halftime show on this one? It did. Tom Brady's last Super Bowl appearance. Sorry, weekend. As good as you did, you never outshine Tom Brady on his last Super Bowl appearance as a Buccaneer. Coming as a Buccaneer, his first year there. Doing it all that one year, coming there to win a Super Bowl for Tampa Bay, do it for Bruce Arenas, do it for Todd Bowles. He outshined. Even though the weekend had a great show by the weekend. Just was not good to outshine Tom Brady. But hey, go back and watch that one. Now we go to number 7. Let's go to 2012. Somebody said Holiday. That's one of her biggest songs. And we're talking about no other than Madonna, who came and had a bunch of guests on this show. I couldn't even name all of them. That's how many guests she had. This was a great show. And this show will always be remembered because it was at Lucas Oil Stadium. The Baltimore Ravens played the San Francisco 49ers. The Ravens won, but this was the Blackout Bowl. And Madonna performed. Remember we had to wait a long time for the power outage? Madonna performed and rocked the house. So now I ask the question, was it Madonna or the game? It was Madonna. She saved the show because the game turned out to be a good game, but we had to wait so long to get it restarted that when they finally got it back going and we got the Madonna halftime show, we were back jacked up. She got everybody back going. She did all the hits that night, and Madonna pretty much showed everybody at her age she still can go with the best. Gotta give it to Madonna. That's why she's number 7 on the list. Now, number 6 is somebody we know well. She was just at the Super Bowl last weekend, and she performed in 2015 at the University of Phoenix, Arizona Stadium for the Arizona Cardinals fan base. But that night, the Cardinals weren't playing. It was the Denver Broncos and the Carolina Panthers. Peyton Manning's last game. And the person who performed that night was none other than Katy Perry. Everybody loves Katy Perry. How can you not love Katy Perry? All the songs she's made. So many hits she's made. She's dating Travis Kelce. Rumor is she's pregnant with Travis Kelce's baby. We don't know. Everybody loves Katy Perry. She's always at all the Chiefs games. Big name, big brand, good game. Did she outweigh the game? That's the question. It was Peyton Manning's last game. And everybody remember 2015 as the Peyton Manning controversial season. He got benched. The sheriff himself got benched. Good game. Very good game. But even though it's my boy Peyton Manning, it's the sheriff. It was his last game. Gotta give it to guess who? Katy Perry won that night with one of the biggest Super Bowl shows we had seen in a while. Now we're getting to number 5, ladies and gentlemen. Number 5 on the list. And then after we do number 5, we'll be jumping to a quick commercial break. Number 5 is 2017, My Girl Lady Gaga. Very good show. High energy. Truly enjoyed it. Aerial stunts. You name it, they did it all. But did she outperform the Super Bowl that evening is the question. Did she outperform the Super Bowl is the question. As good as Lady Gaga was, and as bad as I want to say she did an outstanding job, she just didn't outperform the Super Bowl. You know why? Because this will always be remembered. And this game was brought up in the previous Super Bowl that we just watched on Sunday as the comeback game of the year. Comeback game of probably everybody's life that we'll never see again. Down 24 points at halftime. Mr. Brady gets his Patriots in the game and win in overtime 34-28. As good as Lady Gaga was, did she outperform this game? She did not. Great performance by Lady Gaga, but that Tom Brady stole the show again on the biggest stage of them all, Super Bowl Sunday. We're going to jump into a commercial break, and we'll be right back here to go through the top 4 Super Bowl halftime shows and the games to see which one outweighed which one else, and also to see where Kendrick Lamar now will rank in the Super Bowl halftime ranking show. You're watching these things right here on the Boom Broadcasting. Welcome back to Hit Stings right here on the Boom Broadcasting. We've been talking about how Kendrick Lamar had arguably one of the greatest Super Bowl halftime shows that we see since the performing era of 93, when the NFL said we're not going to have bands, we're going to have some people come, real performers, real musicians, singers, all that performing. We're going to go a different route. So we talked about it. We had some great honorable mentions right here on our list. Our honorable mentions were 2004. You had the Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake, P. Diddy, Nelly, Kid Rock, Jessica Simpson as one of honorable mentions. 2018, the Justin Timberlake Redemption Tour, but Justin Timberlake redeemed himself for what he done in 2004. Then you had 2024. You had the great Usher show where Usher rocked the house and went Atlanta all the way. Little John, Ludacris, all of them there. Then you had one of my favorites that was a good honorable mention. 2023, my girl Rihanna, she rocked the house. We had aerial stunts. We had everything you wanted in there. Then, of course, one we couldn't put on the list, 2022, would have been in the top 5. The Hip Hop Avengers when Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent, Kendrick Lamar, Mary J. Blige, the Queen of R&B, and Eminem all performed that night. Then, of course, we went in our top 10s. Number 10 was Bruno Mars, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Number 9 was also another one of my favorites, Shakira and Jennifer Lopez, representing the Hispanic culture back in 2020. Then number 8 was The Weeknd back in 2021. Then, of course, number 7 was my girl, Holiday. No other best than Madonna with Holiday that night. Then back at number 6 was Katy Perry in 2015. Number 5 was Lady Gaga in 2017. And we also had another honorable mention. Can't forget about my boys. But we got them tied somewhere, so we'll be talking about them in a minute. So now, number 4. Drum roll, please. Who had the 4th best Super Bowl halftime show since the merger in 93? We've been talking about this one since the opening segment. 93 is where the NFL decided to have a performer perform. And who else better to come in number 4 than the guy who performed in 93? He is the king of pop. No other than Mr. Michael Jackson himself. I went back and watched this Super Bowl show 4 times a day because just how good it was. First time ever going with a performer, and the NFL hits a home run. It says, we got to go get the king of pop, Michael Jackson. Performed in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl Stadium. The Bills and the Cowboys played. This will be the Cowboys, I believe, last Super Bowl victory in 93, either their first one. Go check the history books. Drop it in the comment box. Michael D. Prince, drop it in the comment box. Give us a fact right there. But nobody was worried about the Bills and the Cowboys. We were there to see the king of pop. Thank you, NFL, for allowing them to play a football game on Michael Jackson's concert that day. Michael did everything. He did Jam. He did Black and White. He did Beat It. He did We Are the World. He did every song you could think of his repertoire. Pretty much like watching Motown 25 anniversary all over again. Michael did everything. And as I said, if you want to set the precedent tone of how you want your halftime show to be, then in 93, you go get the arguably the biggest seller, the King of Pop, Michael Jackson. Now, Cowboys won 30 to the Bills 13. Michael Jackson transformed the halftime show to show that it's now a halftime show. What people want to see. It's not bands no more. We want to see a performer. We got Michael Jackson. It was a big stadium. It was major. They advertised this big that he will be doing it. Who was, like I said, they have the King of Pop do this? Was Michael Jackson bigger or was the game bigger? You already know that's that question. It was the King of Pop, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson with the fourth best Super Bowl halftime performance show. Number 3 is my top. And number 3, you talk about 2002, U2 performed. And what makes this show so special back in 2002 is they paid honor and respect to the victims of 9/11, and it was done at the Superdome in New Orleans, and it was a good show that night. You had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Oakland Raiders. Brad Johnson joined the Super Bowl Elite Quarterback Club that evening. Shout out to my man Christian Luca for that fact on the gridiron address. Because a lot of people forgot Brad Johnson is a Super Bowl NFL quarterback. He won a Super Bowl. That night, the Buccaneers won the game. A lot of people were upset because Tony Dungy had just got fired from the Buccaneers organization. They hired John Gruden. John Gruden was able to get them over the hump. Tony Dungy couldn't get them over the hump. And he faced his old team that traded him to the Bucs. So if you were the Raiders, you traded your coach to the team that would beat you at the Super Bowl. So a lot of people were still upset about that, but he was able to get the Buccaneers over the hump to win that first Super Bowl in their franchise history. U2 performed that night. With all the controversy of that right there around this game, you still say U2 was the highlight of the night. Being able to call out those victims, show their name on the screen, that died from that horrific 9/11 attack and all the different places it happened at, it was very monumental for them. And that's why this show arguably was now the top 3 highest watched Super Bowl halftime shows in my book, and arguably one of the best ones in my book for what they done. Now, I do have a top of number 2 because, you know, you got U2 that just knocked the house out, but then you got to think about the Rolling Stones back in 2006. I mean, they just came in 06, rocked the house, delivered some classic rock performances, timeless hits for the Rolling Stones. I'm a Stones fan myself. That night, the Colts played the Bears. The Colts won. Sheriff got his first ever ring, 29-17. Was the game bigger than the Stones? Big as the Rolling Stones are, the biggest fan I am of the Rolling Stones. Got to give the game this one. The first one gave to U2 in 2002. In 2006, got to give it to the Colts. Everybody wanted to see Peyton win that ring, and everybody was cheering for Peyton to win that Super Bowl ring. Now, our number 2. Greatest halftime show according to me. Where are the queens at? Where are the queens from the Beehive? Where are the bees at from the Beehive? Because I have to go get the queen of the Beehive. No other than Miss Beyonce Knowles Carter. 2013, Beyonce, Destiny Child reunion. My childhood and part of my adulthood, Destiny Child. Now, well, Destiny Child was more my middle school adulthood. I didn't get him as a child. Reunion, Kelly Rowland, Michelle, back as Destiny Child, Beyonce performing all of the hits. And another one of those people, minus the Destiny Child, did the entire show just like Rihanna, just like Kendrick Lamar, just like Justin Timberlake, did the entire show. U2, the Rolling Stones did the entire show. Michael Jackson, she did the entire show, minus the 3-4 songs with Destiny Child. Put a ring on it. She let Destiny Child sing the lead to it. She did the first verse. Kelly did the second one. Michelle did the third. Very big. They did the put a ring on it dance. This was a big show. And to me, Beyonce back in 2013 was at the epitome of her career, at the highest peak. And she has not come down off that mountain. She's crossed over so many genres. Country right now, her country album, everything. Good show. I mean, to put her over Michael, the King of Pop, lets you know how good this show was. Now, that evening, Seattle played the Denver Broncos. And this was Peyton's first shot as a Denver Bronco for a Super Bowl. And this was the Legion of Boom. Was the Legion of Boom 43-8 Super Bowl win in 49 in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans bigger than Beyonce? As big as we like the Legion of Boom back there. Russell Wilson was on that rookie contract. Pete Carroll was a fun coach you wanted to be around. Pete Carroll was the epitome of a West Coast coach. Gotta give it to Beyonce. That halftime show, I watched it 4 times a day. It was magnificent. The dance choreography, the Destiny Child reunion, doing all of the hits from when she went solo to where she was at now. Only thing missing was a Jay-Z appearance, her husband, but Jay-Z always said he never liked to steal her thunder. It was her show. Got to give it to you. Beyonce was the highlight of the night. We're about to jump into a commercial break right here on It's Stinking. We will be back to reveal the #1 halftime show right here for the Super Bowl. If you've been paying attention, you already know what it is. If not, stay tuned. We'll be letting you know what our #1 show is after the commercial break. You're watching It Stinks right here on the Boom Broadcasting.
Being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mind and mental health.
Find the resources you need
to make your mental health a priority.
Love your mind.
Welcome back to It Stinks right here on the Boom Broadcast. As we told you, we're going to be revealing our #1 halftime Super Bowl show. And then we're going to be seeing where Kendrick Lamar ranks it in this list. We're going to add Kendrick Lamar in this list. So, we already covered 10 through 5. And we'll start with 6 and 5 and work our way up to 2. Our #6 was Katy Perry back in 2015. Our #5 was Miss Lady Gaga, 2017. #4 was the King of Pop himself, 93, the first ever Super Bowl halftime performer, Mr. Michael Jackson, in 93 in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl. Our #2 was a tie. U2 in 2002 at the NetLife Stadium that paid tribute to the 9/11 victims. And then back in 2006, the Rolling Stones, who did that show. Our #2 was the queen herself of the Beehive, Miss Beyonce Knowles. So now everybody wants to know, who is #1? Ladies and gentlemen, we had some great honorable mentions. We had Rihanna, Justin Timberlake. We had the 2004 group, Justin Timberlake, Diddy, Nelly, Jessica Simpson, Kid Rock, Janet Jackson with the famous wardrobe malfunction. We had Holiday. We had so many greats: Madonna, The Weeknd, Bruno Mars. We had Jennifer Lopez. We had everything you could think of, but the one thing we did not have. This is why he is #1, and he will continue to be #1. 2007 at the Dolphin Stadium, Prince came out of retirement to perform. And what makes this arguably the best Super Bowl halftime show was it rained during the song Purple Rain to pretty much set it on fire. Prince did every one of his hits, 1999, everything you could think of, he did it that night. Great guitar solo, everything that happened. But when it rained during Purple Rain, that just took this Super Bowl show to a brand new aura right there. Arguably why it is the greatest halftime Super Bowl show ever. Prince, ladies and gentlemen, is your #1 arguably Super Bowl halftime show. So we said Prince is 1. You can't top that. He's going to stay 1. It rained during Purple Rain. Beyonce, a strong #2. Queen of the Beehive, Rock the House, Destiny Child reunion. U2, a strong #3. And Michael, strong #4. Where would Kendrick Lamar fit at in this? I would arguably say Kendrick Lamar's show is a #3 on my list now. That will bump U2 and the Rolling Stones that tied at 3 down to 4, bump Michael Jackson, the king of pop, down to 5. And that would push Bruno Mars, that was at 10, into the honorable mention with Rihanna, Justin Timberlake, the 2004 group with Justin Timberlake, Janet Jackson, Nelly, Kid Rock, and P. Diddy. And also keeping them down there with the Dr. Dre group. But like I said, Dr. Dre, if I could put them in, I know people saying, well, you put Kendrick Lamar in. Only reason I put Kendrick Lamar in because he did the entire show by himself versus Dr. Dre's show was the Hip Hop Avengers. Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, and the Queen of R&B, Mary J. Blige. That's the reason why they're still honorable mention. But they could move up on next year's list to compare. Usher's still in the honorable mention. So many great Super Bowl shows, but Prince takes number 1. Beyonce takes number 2. Kendrick Lamar now slides in at number 3. U2 and the Rolling Stones drop down to 4. Michael Jackson drops down to 5. That's my top 5 right there. Jump in the comment box. Put your Super Bowl halftime list and let me know what your top 10 is. This is Shawn. We had a great time talking about Kendrick Lamar halftime show. Had a great time talking about some of the greatest Super Bowl shows in the history since 93 when they started performing. Tune in next week for Instincts and we break down more entertainment news right here on the Boom Broadcaster. You're watching Shawn on Instincts and I'm out.